living fully alive in every way. You're listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol.
Hello again, friends. It's Dr. Carol, and this is Relationship Prescriptions. I don't know about you, but the holiday season is one that I enjoy. Now, there's lots of troubled feelings about the holiday season, but for most of us, holidays involve families. And I am planning some wonderful holiday celebrations with my family. But that involves, for me, many different varieties of family connections. And in my case, that is a blended family. My husband had been married before and had 2 boys. And so that means my family involves all these different people. Now, many blended families have extra challenges. If you look at the statistics, there's debates about this, and people look at statistics differently, but somewhere around half of marriages involve situations where one or both has been married before. Large numbers of those marriages involve children. So a blended family of some variety is pretty common in our contemporary culture. Thankfully, a healthy blended family is possible. But I learned some very important things in my own journey of experiencing my family. And I think perhaps these will be helpful for you. I've been thinking about some of these factors again as we're coming up to the holiday season, planning Thanksgiving. My whole family's going to be together. Christmas, my whole family's going to be together. And that involves some challenging relationships if you don't come at these kinds of situations with a mature mindset. The important thing to remember in any marriage, but perhaps even more in a blended family, is that you get to choose for you, but you don't get to choose for anybody else. You get a vote for you, but the other people involved have feelings, have a history, and understanding that goes a long way in making a blended family relationships healthy. I remember one of the first holiday seasons where I was part of the blended family that I still am a part of. And I remember sitting there at Thanksgiving and listening to stories that had happened in years before I had become a part of this family. Stories and circumstances that I had not been a part of. And I remember being presented with the question in my mind, am I going to feel less than and left out because I wasn't part of those experiences? Or am I going to choose to enjoy this experience and find the gratitude? I had to make that choice. Now, friends, I was very, very blessed. My husband put our marriage first, and that's the only place that marriage works, is in first priority, above children, above any other relationships, second only to God himself. My husband did that beautifully. His 2 boys and their wives welcomed me into their lives and embraced me. When children came into their families, I was welcomed as Grandma Carol. And that was a wonderful experience for me. Not all blended families start out with those positives going for them. So I had the best of all possible circumstances going. But developing our blended family as a family still took time. And that is the way it is for every blended family, whether the initial circumstances leading to that family are easy, as it was in my case, or not, or more challenging. Family doesn't develop overnight. Perhaps more than in any other circumstance, the issue that remarriage and blended families have is that there is a lot more complications and a lot more baggage that one and usually both of the parents or husband and wife in this family have. One or both has been married before. There are children that one or both very well may have from other previous relationships. And so, how is this going to develop into a family? So, I'd like to share with you 4 things that I learned in my journey to what I believe is a healthy blended family. Again, I am very blessed to experience what I believe is a healthy blended family, and some things I learned along the way that I think may be helpful for you if that's part of your experience. Number 1, you are marrying the whole family. Yes, marriage between husband and wife, that is the priority relationship. But especially if either you or your spouse has had previous relationships and or children involved, you are marrying the whole lot. If you cannot embrace that, don't create a blended family. There are many more people involved, and you only get to choose for you. Remember, you are putting all these other people in a situation that they didn't choose. You are making the choice to get married and create this blended family. They didn't have a choice in the matter, but they are impacted, and you will be impacted by them. If you or your spouse has an ex-spouse who is living, there is almost certainly going to be some level of interaction, especially if there are children involved. And there are children. If there are children that one or both of you had from before, they're going to be involved. There are other extended family relationships that are likely to be involved if you're creating a blended family. And while it's true that first marriages, you're marrying the whole family, it is especially true in blended families. And if you can't accept that, don't enter this kind of a relationship. That doesn't mean that you will like everybody. It doesn't mean you will approve of how they live or behave in every way. It doesn't mean that you would choose to spend time with them on your own, but your life will include them in some way. You are marrying a package deal. You don't get to pick and choose. And that's important to know in going into a blended family. If you are in a blended family now and hadn't particularly realized that, it's time to do that now. Instead of grumbling or complaining, just realize the reality of what is. Instead of being upset that it's raining, learn to say, yep, I need an umbrella. It's raining. I'm getting wet. This is just the facts. And embrace it. Embrace reality. You are marrying the whole family. Number 2, don't try to fix them or theirs. It can be incredibly disrupting if you enter a family and try to change their dynamics, their relationships. Now, over time, your influence can grow. But if I had entered the Tanksley family with ideas that I knew better about holiday traditions or, the kinds of relationships and communication that would be had among the various people, and try to fix people because, I see this family member isn't living quite right and they've got issues and I want to try and fix those issues. Anything that I would come in and try and do would only create defensiveness and push them away. Doesn't mean I necessarily approve of every item or every part of how things are going, but don't try and fix them. Get over yourself enough to realize that you are not the solution to issues that they have been dealing with for decades. And neither is your new spouse the magic solution to issues in your life or previous family. Don't try and fix things. If there are children involved, you very well may grow into becoming an indispensable part of that child's life, but that will take time. You will never be able to replace that child's father or mother, whether they're alive or not. Don't try. The people in your blended family have a much longer history and a much bigger load of baggage than a first marriage would usually involve. So your posture, instead of trying to fix them, your posture should be one of curiosity and grace. Seek to understand. There needs to be a lot of communication between you and your spouse about the little things. Now, when my husband and I first got married and moved to the town where his children and their families live, although I was welcomed and everybody welcomed me, there was still some certain areas of tension that were there for me that I had to grow into. For example, my husband would invite one of the boys to come over and help with something, and I might feel a little uncomfortable because I, wasn't dressed as I wanted to be or whatever. It took considerable time for me to become comfortable that, yeah, these can be, my children too, that involve them in my home. I cannot tell you the benefits and blessings that have come to me by walking that journey and allowing that process to develop over time. And as I have learned to seek understanding, to seek to understand them and be curious about their lives, all of that has become just a beautiful thing. But it would never have happened if I had tried to fix them. Number 3, find the gratitude. Your blended family will never be the same as a first marriage. Accept that. Embrace that. Don't try to recreate something that you may have experienced in the past that you felt was good in a first marriage. Don't try and create something that you wish you had had and repair something from the past. This is a new relationship. It can be beautiful. Your blended family now will be different, but different doesn't mean bad. Now, it's almost certain that you will have difficult emotions related to blended family issues. If there's an ex-spouse around or kids involved or whatever, you will have emotions. You may feel angry, upset, frustrated, left out. Own those as your own. Nobody can make you feel any certain way. Your response, your emotions are yours. That's real. You have an honest emotional response to whatever that difficult circumstance is. Pause and own those emotions, but then move past that. You don't need to act immediately on those difficult emotions. You can feel them, and then you can choose to move forward looking for the gratitude. For example, at certain holiday gatherings, I have had to choose not to wish that I had biological children of my own and that I didn't have to sit and listen to stories that I had nothing to do with from the past. But instead, I have learned to find the gratitude for what is. I have learned to become grateful to learn about places and times and things and people that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to experience on my own. I have learned to be grateful for my blended family because I get to experience my grandchildren's hugs and their lives. I wouldn't have been able to experience that otherwise. I can experience love in ways that if I hadn't embraced this blended family, I wouldn't be able to. You can learn to find things to be grateful for if you look for them. That doesn't mean everything will be exactly as you want it, but look for, find, and choose to embrace the gratitude. It will make a difference for you. And now, number 4, take the long view. Ron Deal, Smart Step Families, working with Family Life Today, I believe, likes to say that a blended family is a crock pot, not a blender. It can take many years, he says an average of 7 years, for a blended family to begin to feel like a family. Remember that while your remarriage, God willing, is a beautiful blessing to the two of you, husband and wife, it may feel like a significant loss to everyone else involved. Any children, ex-spouses, extended family, anybody else involved, your remarriage may very well feel like a negative. It may feel like something that needs to be grieved, and that's okay. For children involved, they no longer have their parent to themselves in the way they did before you remarried, for example. Everybody else involved is going to see it differently than you and your new spouse do. And it takes time to do that work of building new relationships that very likely may involve grief for some of the people involved. It takes years to feel like family. Love, trust, feeling comfortable with new relationships and new roles, those take time to develop. And if you want a healthy blended family, you will need to be more than usually intentional in investing in those relationships. For everyone involved, see yourself as extending an invitation. If that person in the blended family, whether it's a stepchild, an ex-spouse, or anyone else, the only chance you have of having a pleasant relationship with them is if you extend an open invitation with your heart, your home, your life, who you are as a person. Make that an invitation. You won't be able to force any relationship. And if there are toxic people involved, you may need to set healthy boundaries. You and your new spouse are going to see things a bit differently, and it's going to take time to work through those different understandings. Give it that time. Take the time to invest and invite these people in this now blended family to enter a relationship with you. They get to decide the speed of that. You don't get to make that choice. It is their choice about what level of relationship they have with you if they were involved in this family before you. Make the invitation and just keep it safe, keep it open. Over time, that has a good chance of creating harmony and love. I still remember the first time one of my stepdaughters-in-law approached me with a serious family challenge that she was asking for my input with. I felt so honored by that. That didn't happen until about 7 years into our blended family relationship, close to it. That was a very meaningful time for me, and it came because trust and love had developed over time. So if you are wrestling with how to relate to extended family or step whatever in a blended family, you take the high road. Get your own emotional needs met in healthy ways. Don't look to these people to make you feel included. You do the work yourself to get your identity from God, to get to work on your relationship with your husband or wife as the primary and most important relationship. Nurture that. And for everybody else, just invite them and embrace what they are able to give. If you do that, I can promise you that the kind of relationships that can develop may be much richer and more nourishing than you could have predicted if you take the long view. I hope that those are some helpful ideas about creating or building a healthy blended family. Just real quickly again, number one, remember you are marrying the whole family, the whole load. Number two, don't try to fix them. Come with a posture of curiosity and grace. Number three, look for the gratitude. You will have difficult feelings. Things will not go as you wish. Own your feelings and then move past that, choosing to look for the gratitude. And number four, take the long view. Choose to invest over time. And chances are healthy, truly loving relationships can develop because you have earned over time the right for these other individuals, stepchildren, whoever, to actually trust you and love you. And that is my wish for you and my prayer for you. We are talking about blended families in our Fully Alive group. It's just one of the marriage challenges that we have addressed this month, the month of October. I'd invite you to go to fullyalivegroup.com and check it out. At the time this podcast is being released, our most recent Tuesday evening session will have been about blended families. And if you become a Fully Alive group member, you can look at the recording of that session with my friends Matt and Carrie Perkins about their experience with blended families, more about my own experience, and find some helpful tools in navigating that. You'll also get access to question and answer sessions, downloadable resource guides, other kinds of premium content, and connection with me on a personal level. And I would invite you to do that, fullyalivegroup.com. I want to thank you for being part of our podcast family. I would love to hear from you. I am looking to increase the number of episodes that we do answering your questions. So I would find it so valuable if you would let me know something that is interesting for you that you'd like me to respond to in an upcoming episode, a question or a comment. You can go to drcarolministries.com/podcast. You can leave me a confidential message there. I'm the only one who gets those, and I'd be happy to look at your question, respond, and consider it for an upcoming episode here on Relationship Prescriptions. Thanks again for being part of our podcast family. And until next time, may God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol. Our purpose is to provide trustworthy resources that help you and others live fully alive in every way as God intended. If you would like to help others experience transformation in their lives and relationships, we invite you to partner with us. Text the word GIVE, that's GIVE, to the number 512-980-1620, or visit our website at drcarolministries.com/donate to make a one-time contribution or monthly gift. Your financial support allows us to expand our message and to help others. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.